Okay, I lied. I couldn't resist. I just want to do one more short video before Christmas. Just one more and I'll be out of your way. Hi, I'm Clem, truly Clem. In my very first video, I talked about the Mac with the new M1 chip. In my second video, I talked about the iPad Air 2 that I've owned for 5 years. So for this, my third video, I think it makes sense for me to talk about the iPhone, but not exactly the iPhone. I'm going to talk about the network, the mobile network the iPhone is connected to. Now, to start, I think I need to talk about my experience with my very first smartphone. It was the year 2011, and my mum just out of the blue was asking me, Clem, do you want to buy your very own smartphone, your very first smartphone? What sort of a question is that? Of course, yes. And then my mum allowed me to buy my own smartphone, and I bought my first smartphone. It was the white iPhone 4S. It was beautiful. I had no complaints. End of story. No, not the end of story. Because the point of the story is that little did I know, the very next year when the iPhone 5 was released, it was released with 4G. And I was mad. Now looking back, it was very funny because I was really mad at myself. I was telling myself that I could have just waited a year and I could have a 4G smartphone instead of a 3G smartphone that feels instantly old at that moment anyway. And I particularly remember there was this time I was on a train. Like, I was on my train with my iPhone 4S. I was streaming YouTube over data, but because my iPhone was on 3G, it was stuttering and stuff. And next to me sat a man with an iPhone 5 with 4G. He was streaming YouTube videos like it's nobody's business. And I was totally jealous, and I was telling myself, ugh, this iPhone 4S, the worst purchase I've ever made. And fast forward to today, I kind of made the same mistake. Kind of. Now, this is the iPhone 11 Pro Max, which was released last year, and it only has 4G support. And you know what? This year, the iPhone 12, all 4 models of the iPhone 12, all have 5G support. And I was telling myself, oh, I did it again. I made the same mistake. Except this time, I'm not mad at myself. I'm not angry. I'm not jealous. And you know why? Because 5G in 2020 doesn't deserve my attention, nor yours. For this video, let's have a quick chat about 5G, its disappointing state in 2020. 5G. What do we expect from 5G? We assume that 5G would be better than 4G because there's an extra G in 5G. And of course, like, mobile carriers would love to use that narrative as well. They want to tell you that, like, having a 5G phone is like immeasurably better than having a 4G phone. But this is all marketing talk, and in real life, things are not that simple. Now, to look at what 5G has to offer, we need to understand a little bit about the technologies behind it. Of course, like with 5G, you're expecting faster download and upload speeds for your daily tasks, like downloading apps and streaming video and even playing online games. And to provide you with that experience, there are actually 2 flavors of 5G, if you may. The first one is called sub-6 GHz 5G, and the second one is called millimeter wave 5G. Now let's first talk about sub-6 GHz 5G. This variant of 5G is kind of similar to 4G because it utilizes a similar range of radio bands, which are mainly low-frequency radio bands and mid-frequency radio bands. So as a result, with sub-6 GHz 5G, we're not expecting a lot of improvement in terms of the download speed. We're seeing like modest, marginal improvements, which are still fine. Now, the advantage of sub-6 GHz 5G is that it maintains its ability to penetrate walls. That means even when I'm inside, if I have a 5G phone, I'm expected to have some sort of sub-6 GHz 5G coverage. On the other hand, there's millimeter wave. This one is way more exciting because it promises ultra-fast download speeds. If you've seen any speed test, 5G speed test online, you will see something like 1 gigabit or even like 2 gigabit per second download. That is mind-boggling because not many home broadband services can provide that sort of a download speed anyway. And to be able to do that wirelessly over a mobile network, that is truly impressive. But of course, there's a downside. This sort of like ultra-fast download speed is enabled by using ultra-wideband. And the problem with ultra-wideband is that it doesn't really penetrate walls. In fact, millimeter wave 5G can be easily obscured by walls, doors, windows, even trees. There are some reports saying that like your millimeter wave 5G coverage can be affected by rain because there will be more water in the air. So what does that mean if you have a 5G phone today? That means most of the time you'll have sub 6 gigahertz 5G, which has like marginal speed improvements compared to 4G, and then maybe once or twice, if you're lucky, you may walk past a millimeter wave 5G base station and you can have like around a minute or two of ultra fast 5G download speeds. But I don't think is anything to be too excited about. But of course, we're just at the start of the 5G era, so let's give 5G the benefit of the doubt. One day, maybe like mobile carriers will be able to sort out all the kinks, and then we'll have like coverage of millimeter wave 5G every corner in the neighborhood. Let's assume that's the case. Would 5G be more exciting by then? I still doubt it. I'm yet to think of a use case where 5G can really flourish. If you remember anything about the transition from 3G to 4G, you would remember that it was really successful because it coincided with the boom of video content on social media networks, and also more and more people are streaming YouTube on the go. At that time, more and more people are transitioning from watching 720p HD video to 1080p HD video, and that was the moment when 4G came to the rescue. 4G provides 100 megabit per second, which is more than enough for streaming like with 1080p HD video. And of course, a few years later, 4K became more and more popular. And then you know what happened to 4G? The theoretical maximum speed increased to 300 a few years later. So these two technologies are catching up with each other, one technology enabling the other and vice versa. It works in harmony in that sense. Now, 5G is now here, millimeter wave, super fast 5G. What can we do with this sort of speed? At this point, 1080p video is still the norm, you know, like streaming 4K video is kind of the premium. If you look at Netflix, you need to pay extra just to get 4K and HDR, so, you know, yeah, streaming 1080p is still the norm. And for that reason, even if there's like 8K and even 16K on the horizon, I don't think we're going to stream 8K and 16K video anytime soon. And of course, mobile carriers don't want you to know that. They still want you to be convinced that like without 5G, your mobile network experience will be very bad. It will be subpar. Not going to lie, I think at this point, mobile carriers are really quite desperate to sell 5G to their customers. If you live in the UK, you would know of a mobile carrier called EE, and if not, I'll just tell you more about it. During the course of them selling 5G to their customers, they have partnered with other celebrities having performances over 5G. The first performance that I could remember was like last year. I think they partnered with Stormzy and they had like a VR performance, you know, streamed over 5G. And then sometime, it was like earlier this year, they partnered with Bastille with a AR experience that was also streamed over 5G. I mean, never say never, but do I see myself wearing a VR headset or using AR when I'm on the go? Not in the next few years, no. I don't really think so. Literally the only sort of scenario I can think of on the top of my head where I would think 5G is quite useful is if I'm at an airport at 5 minutes before boarding and suddenly I want to download a whole series, literally any series. At that point, I might think that, 5G is saving my ass. Except one, I'm more organized than that, so I would have just downloaded the whole series before arriving at the airport. Two, it's 2020 going to 2021. Most airports had Wi-Fi, so I don't know why I would be using 5G. And three, it's COVID season, so why would I be taking the plane? So yeah, 5G, expectations versus reality. I think it's really sad that 5G has to be released around this time, you know, like when we're all just locked in because of COVID and none of us are really going out. using 5G, even if they have 5G, we're just relying on Wi-Fi more than ever before. Also, a lot of other technologies have not caught up with the development of 5G. For example, I said like VR, AR, 8K, and even something like autonomous driving or the Internet of Things. Yeah, it's just quite an unfortunate situation for 5G. 5G is just there waiting for people to use to really unleash its capability, and sadly we're not able to do it right now. So yeah, at the meantime, I think I'm happy with my 4G phone. I don't think anyone should be rushing to buy a 5G phone just because of 5G, but of course if you do need a new smartphone and it happens to have 5G, I mean that's good because it's about getting yourself future-proofed, so in the next few years 5G will become more and more useful as times go by. But then if your mobile carrier is trying to convince you to pay extra to upgrade your current 4G plan to a 5G plan, don't do it, trust me. It's not worth it. You're not going to get any otherworldly download speeds with 5G. Just save the money, and later on at the right time, you can jump on the 5G train. Just not this year. Because 2020 is definitely not the year of 5G. It was the year of COVID. I'm sorry. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to give it a like and subscribe, and do comment down below if you have any thoughts about 5G. Again, have a very Merry Christmas, and I can't wait to see you in the next one.